Well, political shakeups and turmoil today in two state legislatures, a vote to try to remove three House Democrats in Tennessee, and a party switch in North Carolina. All right now, let's give you a live look. A vote underway to expel the second of three Democratic members for their role in a protest 1 week ago. Justin Jones of the so-called Tennessee Three was voted out about a half hour ago. And now the chamber is addressing motions to remove Justin Pearson and Gloria Johnson, with Johnson given 20 minutes to defend herself right now. So this all comes after the three state lawmakers peacefully protested gun control measures after the deadly Covenant school shooting. They were said to have broken House decorum rules by using a megaphone to speak when not called upon, while protesters were above in the public gallery. The other two expected to be expelled, as the Republican Party does have a mega majority. But there is nothing that stops these members from running again and potentially retaking their seats. Now, at times, protesters outside of the state capitol there in Tennessee could be heard while they've been debating these expulsions all day. And Tennessee, though, is not the only state capital in the midst of a power struggle right now. In North Carolina, one member's decision to switch parties will upend power in that state. Longtime Democratic lawmaker Tricia Cotham announcing she is becoming a Republican.
I've suffered many attacks.
Her status hasn't been changed on their website, but her seat on the House floor was changed overnight. Cotham's move gives Republicans a supermajority and allows the governor to be vetoed. That hasn't happened in the state since 2018. Cotham seemed aligned with the Democrats, publicly stating she'd had an abortion and was for a woman's right to choose and a proponent of LGBTQ issues. However, the new Republican says she began to feel bullied by her previous party and pressured to vote in line with the governor on all issues. All right, for a deeper dive, let's bring in national politics reporter with our partners at The Hill, Julia Manchester. Julia, of course, this is all unfolding right now as we speak, so we're starting in Tennessee there. Put this in a context for us, because how big of a deal is it? I mean, there are three Democrats here, about 15% of the party's representation there in the chamber, all more than likely to be expelled for this, quote, breaking decorum. One of them already voted out. How big of a deal is this?
Yeah, Nichole, it's a huge deal. And I think we need to step back first and understand the context in which this is happening. Last week, we saw that tragic school shooting in which 6 people, including 3 children, were killed. And this, of course, this protest is about Tennessee's gun laws. And we saw the protest that was done on the House floor yesterday was as a result of activists and these lawmakers protesting those gun laws. Now, those protests were very peaceful and they continue to remain peaceful. However, Republicans' argument in this say that they were not invited onto the House floor. They were not recognized. They were using a bullhorn and that sort of a thing. So that's where they're trying to remove these 3 Democratic lawmakers. But I think, this is a big deal for all state legislatures, not just Tennessee, because it sets a precedent. If we continue to see these protests over a lot of these issues like gun control or gun access, we could see parties, whether it's Republican or Democrat, looking to expel members of the opposing party from their state legislatures. And I don't want to put too much of a bleak note on this, Nichole, but I think we're going to see more of this as we continue to have these conversations in a national debate over a lot of these cultural issues, including gun control.
And Julia, this is certainly about some flexing of muscles here, if we're honest. And at this point, there have been hours of debate today. But is there anything that Democrats can even do here? Because, again, Tennessee Republicans have a super majority here, not just a majority, a super majority.
Yeah, so for the moment, there's not much they can do. If they are expelled, they are expelled. However, Democrats can galvanize and they can campaign and they can tell their base and potential swing voters to go out and vote during the next election. So if we see these 3 Democrats, if all 3 of them end up being expelled, I think there will be, a bit of a galvanization, or very much a galvanization in Tennessee to vote them back in during the next election or elect more Democrats. I think you'll definitely start to see an effort. And I guarantee you that national organizations that pay attention and help aid a lot of these state level, state legislator organizations like the Democratic Legislative Campaign Committee, for example, I imagine they are paying very close attention to this right now.
So, Julia, as you say, this galvanizing, more than likely, of Democrats coming as a result of this essentially muscle flexing of Republicans there in Tennessee. But does this really all come down to being an opportunity for both sides here, Republicans and Democrats, to use this as another opportunity to finger point? You know, we're already a pretty divided country here, but now both sides get a finger point at the other side as really being the bad guys here.
Yeah, look, there certainly is finger pointing, but, if I'm looking at this from a politically strategic perspective, I don't think this is a good look for Republicans in the Tennessee House chamber right now. Look, did these people technically break the rules, the three lawmakers? Yes, but we do know that lawmakers haven't been expelled only have been expelled from the state's House of Representatives, only twice in the past, 100 years or whatever it was. I think in 1980, it was because a member accepted a bribe. And then more recently, I think in 2016, it was over a sexual assault allegation. So much more serious. I think it just goes to this being politics, and this is how it's playing out on the floor of the House of Representatives in Tennessee.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at a bribe, a sexual assault, or an alleged sexual assault, and then protesting gun laws. Okay, thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.